Hey everybody, welcome to What the Flick, Season 4, Episode 4 of Girls, Cubbies, the name of the show. Poor Hannah, man. She can't, I hate every one of those people.
The last couple episodes seems like a reminder of here's everything awful about this quartet.
Right.
Yeah.
You know.
Right, but I hate, not everyone, I hate all the people in her Iowa.
Oh, them
acting
too.
workshop.
Yeah,
Yes.
they're also
Yeah.
pretty terrible.
They're the worst. Like, they misconstrue everything she says, and they're ready to pounce. And I wanted to God.
But she's also
she's
super solipsistic, and you know.
Everyone is at their worst.
Yeah.
Like it is literally. I was really offended by that. Offended by somebody putting a weak. It was definitely a weak apology in your cubby. Come on, man.
Sometimes a weak apology is more passive aggressive than no apology.
Totally,
at all.
I got it. They all had. I mean, in a sense, they had fair points to make, but I mean, they're so obsessed with their work and self-obsessed. Solipsistic is exactly right. All these, they're unbearable.
They are unbearable. In fact, I liked her non-apology, and I was upset that she even thought about apologizing in any way, shape, or form. Those people are unbearable.
Yeah,
And they were cruel to her from the very beginning.
But you got to admit, she's pretty unbearable with them too. I mean, just
I guess I'm biased.
I mean, I enjoyed her reading all of them, but at the same time, it's sort of like, yeah, I can see maybe where an apology might be in order after that. But you know, that really wasn't one, so there we go.
So a wonderfully revelatory line with her and the teacher, who was so great. Like, she's like, I'm not throwing you out. We're all grown-ups here. You got to like nearly kill someone for us to throw you out. But then Hannah's line of, for a minute there, I thought I was thrown out, and I was so happy.
That was such a great line. It definitely was.
So do we think she's left or just visiting New York?
I think she's bolted.
I think she's gone.
You think
she's
everything she has
run.
is in that one suitcase?
I think.
I don't
Or
think so.
everything else gets shipped, maybe. I don't know.
I don't know. I think she's, we don't know.
Although she might reconsider now that she's gotten to New York and found out who was in her apartment.
Right,
So,
and found out that he has a girlfriend.
That was devastating.
That was a devastating.
And how quickly did that happen?
Yeah, that was not, I guess from a storytelling point of view, maybe not handled incredibly well, because we went from him saying he's bad on the phone, and then all of a sudden she's there, and in the middle, I guess, of episode 2, she's in the conversation asking Jessa, like, what's he doing? Like, I never talked to him. Like, it's as if they're not longer a couple. It's just, I found it a little abrupt.
Well, but he talks about how they would have conversations that were about nothing, and so it drove them crazy, so he stopped having them. But then Jessa makes the reference about, that, you know, whoever you're playing with or whatever. So
yeah, no, I got that. It was from a linear, based on what I expected.
Sure.
I thought we'd see more of their disintegration
before
they did not
it's
show
spraying
us that.
upon her.
And then it did here. So, but yes, of course, as soon as this woman answers the door, you know it's not going to be his roommate.
It was such an awkward scene to watch, but it was a good scene. I liked that it made me feel uncomfortable. I don't think that the show focused on their breakup enough. I really had no idea whether or not they had broken up. So I think you make a really good point about that. So they could have maybe developed that plot a little more, but
anyway, we're caught up now. Now we know.
And what's funny is that for all of Hannah's complaints about Iowa and how terrible it is and the people, blah, 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 meanwhile, Jeremiah? No.
Elijah.
Elijah. I knew it was something Old Testament. Elijah is like meeting everybody, knows everybody's name, is like, got their personalities down. He's working on his photos. Like
his photo essay.
He's blooming creatively.
Yes.
You know.
Right. Yeah. Right. They don't sue people in Iowa, right? There's no chance. Yeah. If you release them
They've never heard of releases.
Yeah, never heard of releases here. A really nice scene with her dad. I think her dad was not joking when he said, let's get on a plane. We'll go somewhere we've never been before.
Yeah.
And she was like, ooh, and at the moment that you're like, oh, what a great dad, she says, ooh, creepy.
It was creepy. From a female's perspective, it just sounded like something that you would say to someone that you're in love with, right? So like, I get it. I mean, that's her dad, but the way that he's delivered that whole thing made it a little uncomfortable.
I don't know. I thought this is a dad prepared to, even though he's supposed to do something else, like his daughter's in a bad way, and he'll rescue her.
Yeah, it reminded me of that scene in It's Wonderful. And It Happened One Night at the end when she's getting married to the stupid aviator guy finally, and the father's like, look, you don't have to go through this. I've got a car waiting, I like this, like he's there to rescue, and I like that he was offering that. I didn't think it was creepy.
Well, the one thing that I will say is I loved how supportive he was and how he gave her probably the best advice that anyone can give anyone else. Do what's right for you. Don't be so concerned about what other people are going to think, because what's holding Hannah back in Iowa, even though she's miserable, is the fact that she's worried about what people are going to say about her, just giving up so easily.
Right.
But if it's not for you, it's not for you. Why waste your time? And I love that her dad gave her that advice.
Yeah, but it's a real thing that she's feeling. I mean, I thought she was not, as always, she's not appreciative enough of her parents, who were pretty great parents for the most part. You know, they cut her off a little abruptly, but they did it because they definitely thought it was the right thing to do for her, not because they were tired of her.
Right.
So I don't know. I liked his effort, and I thought her, you know, she does not get who they are. It's like she's convinced that she's, oh, my parents, you know. But anyway, good scene, and always every scene. And he felt the same way at the end because he wanted to help her more. And you see him walking across the street. I had that moment where you thought, oh, he's going to get hit by a car. You forget what kind of show it is, right?
Yeah.
He's not going to get hit by a car. But as he's across the street, he looks back like he wants to do more.
I know.
You know.
He's a good dad.
I love Shosha's job interview as opposed to, in contrast to last week's Shosh job interview, where she was the one who wasn't interested. Now they're not interested, and she makes the mistake of asking for details and gets them.
Yeah. Oh no, hang on. And then she takes out the whole question.
Oh no, wait.
Hold on, oh, good for you. I get to do this. I've always wanted to do this. And then Ray is just, you know, I love Ray, and I love Ray's rage, and Shosh is pretty unbearable, I find. You know, I mean, she is, you know, blunt, and being blunt, people who are rudely blunt, sort of cascading themselves, and I just tell it like it is, and everybody else can't handle it as an excuse for your really sort of supreme rudeness. You know, it's like Rush Limbaugh saying, you know, whenever people get mad at him, he's like, well, if this many people are mad, I must be saying something right. Or, that's another way of looking at this, you're just a jerk.
Yeah.
But she did nail Ray. She's like, you know, no, you were great. You know, I loved you and everything, but I love when she's like, you might be a little mentally ill. You know? And he's so, you know, he really doesn't bristle. He's like, yeah, I'm a little.
I think there is a. She's right that he was worth more than the socks and underwear that they have in Forest Hills.
That's
but
right.
I think
Yeah.
the $70 T-shirt might not be the answer either. I think there's a middle ground there. You know.
Yeah.
And where do we think Marnie's going with this Desi?
Oh, God. I now dislike Marnie.
Is that right?
I do, because
Now?
No,
It took this long?
I had like a love-hate relationship with her, but I feel like she's been almost deplorable in this entire season so far. And like that whole scene where Desi is broken up and he just left his girlfriend because his girlfriend confessed to him that she's been messing up on him, right?
Right, but I that was actually sort of a moment where I related to her, where it's sort of like, oh wow, you did this thing. Oh no, wait, you got dumped, and now I'm the rebound consolation prize.
But the scene ends with a smile, and it was the smile of victory. You know what I mean? So
I think it was a smile of, I'll take it.
she's so pathetic.
I think it was the
can't
smile of the sexual act they were engaging in. I think that was all that was. Like, but that and that transcended all the things that you're talking about to her. That she was, you know, that right at first she's like, wait a minute, this is not how I wanted this to happen.
Right.
But you know, you got to take the win. I mean, he's a disaster. You don't end up with Desi, right? I mean, it's just
Unless you're Marnie, who is also a disaster.
I don't know, but if you could choose Shosh or Marnie for Ray, like in a sense, there's nothing could be better for Ray than Marnie, and definitely nothing could be better for Marnie than Ray.
That's a good
like
point.
a very sort of grounded, regular guy.
Although I could see where she and Desi would have this horrible sort of Fleetwood Mac relationship that resulted in a lot of really good songs.
So far their music has gotten on my nerves.
It has?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm not a fan either, but I just think that them having a fucked up, tempestuous, dysfunctional, argumentative relationship, put in the work.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I mean, and it doesn't matter for the show's purposes. We're supposed to believe that. I mean, clearly those record executives were legitimately
Excited,
jazzed by it. So
Right.
you know, they are.
Although I think they were jazzed by the idea of the two of them as a couple.
Right,
Yes.
right. You have to That's how it gets marketed, not as what was the Clementine.
Clementine.
Right, but Clementine stepped up. Clementine's no dummy. She knew what was
Good for
happening.
her.
Yeah.
Good for her.
Good for Clementine.
It's interesting because Looking has a similar plot line going on where Patrick and Kevin are involved, and Kevin, the boss, has a boyfriend, and
Oh, I'm still catching up on Looking.
yeah,
So they haven't.
there's a lot of third wheel action going on there too.
I just can't quite determine with these girls. They're so rude to each other. Like
Yeah.
they're so like. I'm looking for a couple more moments of sweetness and tenderness among them. I mean, Shosh and Jessa are so dismissive of Marnie's work. I mean, there's no moment of, hey, wow, you created this thing. That's great. And because it is great. Also, I got it. It's a television show, but it felt a little like Real Housewives of New York. Put headphones on.
Listening to the phone, that was a little weird.
It's music. Like Marnie needs them to hear it for what it is in the proper context, not in one ear. Everyone has headphones.
Yeah.
So this is how this world works now.
I think they might have done that just so the audience can hear how terrible.
I know, right? But that's the Real Housewives
Yeah.
moment where
Yeah.
every phone call's on speakerphone.
Yeah.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
so the camera can pick
I
it up.
love that you know that, by the way.
Sorry.
Not judging.
I think of these, because every so often I think, were you ever friends? Are you friends now? Why are you even? And I think of the episode where they go to the beach house, where
Right.
they just like completely eviscerate each other, and they all sit on the sidewalk and do their dance.
Right,
You know,
do
it's
their-
like,
Yeah,
okay,
it's
that's
amazing.
their relationship.
That's a real friendship right there, where you can be brutally honest to one another and still remain friends.
Yeah, there needs to be some non-brutal honesty.
Yeah.
Every so often.
Are we missing anything? Do we have everything covered? I think
we have everything covered.
All right.
Jessa pees in the street.
That was in the last episode.
Oh, that's
Oh,
right.
yeah,
Sorry.
you must have
Okay. Yeah.
caught
So I
up.
watched them back to back.
Yeah,
so
no, that was
my bad.
that was,
Never
but
mind.
I wasn't here. I mean, that was the wonderful line of Jessa's when Adam says, I don't need any more friends, and she says,
I
do.
need you to be my friend.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was
And they
great-
were very misleading in the ads for this show. For all the season preview stuff implied that like Jessa was creeping, but no, that's
No, that's
not where they were
that.
going.
Right.
That was a great moment with Jessa, by the way, where you see her vulnerability, and you've seen it before, but
Sure.
it wasn't as jarring in the past as it was in that scene, and I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
All right, good stuff. This is 10 episodes, right? So
Yeah.
we're close to halfway.
So next week she's either back in New York or she's not. We'll see.
I think it's temporary. I think she's going back to Iowa.